He doesn't talk about his plans. He doesn't announce his goals. He doesn't ask for applause, support, or permission. To the outside world, it looks like he's moving slowly, maybe even going nowhere. But beneath the silence, something far more dangerous is happening. A man building a life so intentionally, so quietly, that no one realizes how far ahead he truly is until he's already there. This is the psychology of quiet ambition, the strength to grow without witnesses, the discipline to win without applause, and the vision to move in a direction only he can see. While most people waste energy explaining their goals, seeking validation, or proving they're working on something, he directs every drop of effort inward. No noise, no updates, no performance. He removes the pressure of expectations and builds in a space where doubt cannot reach him and distractions cannot survive. By the time the world notices the change, the transformation is complete and irreversible. His victories look sudden only because his process was private. His success looks effortless only because nobody saw the war he fought in silence. If this resonates with a part of you most people never see, tell me in the comments, are you building quietly right now? And if you want more deep psychological insights like this, subscribe to UltraWise. You'll miss a lot of silent breakthroughs if you don't. He keeps his goals private because silence protects his momentum. When a Sigma male sets a goal, he guards it the way others guard their deepest vulnerabilities. Not out of fear, but out of understanding. Understanding that the moment a goal is spoken out loud, it becomes exposed to noise, opinions, projections, and expectations that were never his to carry. His silence is not mystery for the sake of mystery. It is protection, insulation, a barrier between his inner fire and a world that loves to interfere. He learned early that momentum grows best in the dark, that progress accelerates when no one is watching, that a dream untouched by questioning hands becomes sharper, faster, more unstoppable. So he moves quietly, almost invisibly, while everyone else waits for applause before taking their first step. He doesn't need that. Applause distracts. Eyes distract. Validation distracts. Silence sharpens the blade. He works behind closed doors, in midnight hours, in moments where the world thinks he is resting, drifting, or unfocused. What they never see is the intensity unfolding internally, the plans forming, the strategies tightening, the self-discipline hardening into steel. He doesn't announce deadlines. He doesn't broadcast ambition. He doesn't hint at what he's building. Because he knows that once people know, they talk. And when they talk, they contaminate. With doubts, with suggestions that dilute, with expectations that distort. He avoids all of that by staying hidden until the foundation is too strong to shake. Silence gives him room to pivot, to fail privately, to rise privately, to evolve without witnesses. And when he finally reveals what he's been creating, it never looks like effort. It looks like inevitability. People call it talent, luck, fate, anything but what it was: consistent, focused, uninterrupted execution. They never realize that his silence wasn't emptiness. It was strategy. It was fuel. It was the very thing that kept his momentum untouched, unchallenged, and unstoppable. He removes external pressure by never announcing what he's working on. A Sigma male learned long ago that the moment you announce a goal, people stop watching your effort and start watching your progress. And that kind of attention becomes a prison disguised as support. Expectations pile up, timelines tighten, and suddenly the work is no longer about authenticity, but performance. So he avoids that trap entirely. He moves in silence because silence frees him. The world cannot rush what it cannot see. No one can pressure him about a deadline they don't know exists. No one can judge the pace of a journey they never witnessed beginning. By keeping his projects hidden, he strips away the weight that crushes so many before they even start. He works without the noise of comparison, without the distraction of opinions, and without the suffocating demand to update anyone. It is the cleanest environment for growth, untouched, unseen, uninterrupted. When he doesn't announce a goal, he has room to fail privately, and more importantly, to refine privately. There is no embarrassment to recover from, no ego to defend, no crowd waiting for results. There is only him, his intuition, and the work. He can experiment, adapt, pivot, start over, or accelerate without anyone interpreting his process as weakness or indecision. The absence of an audience gives him space to breathe, evaluate, and rebuild as many times as necessary. That freedom is where his real power grows. It is where clarity strengthens. It is where his direction becomes razor sharp. And because no one knows what he's creating, no one can sabotage it. Not with doubt, not with envy, not with subtle competition. People cannot derail what they cannot detect. They cannot pressure a man who answers to no external timeline. They cannot distract someone whose work lives outside their awareness. So while others announce everything and finish nothing, he reveals nothing and finishes everything. His silence removes the weight of expectation, allowing him to move with precision, independence, and a level of calm momentum that becomes unstoppable the moment he decides to act. He builds systems quietly, knowing consistency beats motivation. A Sigma male doesn't rely on motivation because he understands the brutal truth most people avoid. Motivation is a spark, not a strategy. It burns bright, then dies out when life becomes heavy or routine. So instead of chasing emotional highs to fuel his progress, he constructs systems, quiet, repeatable frameworks that carry him forward even on days when he feels nothing. These systems become his unseen engine. No applause, no announcement, no ceremony. Just daily, almost invisible actions that stack like bricks until they form something unshakable. While others wait to feel ready, he is already moving. While they chase inspiration, he is building infrastructure. His momentum doesn't depend on mood, it depends on design. His systems are born in silence because silence keeps them pure. No one interferes. No one offers advice that dilutes his clarity. No one doubts him. He can refine the structure without noise, adjusting routines and eliminating inefficiencies until the entire process fits him like a second skin. It is here, in the emptiness between distractions, that he becomes dangerous. Because a man who operates from structure instead of emotion cannot be stopped by a bad day, a temporary setback, or external chaos. He doesn't crumble when pressure rises. His system absorbs it. He doesn't lose direction when life shifts. His system redirects him. This quiet reliability is his true competitive advantage. And because he builds in private, no one notices the transformation until it's too late to catch up. People assume he got lucky or moved fast, unaware that he has been laying rails every single day while they were waiting for the perfect moment. His consistency compounds like interest. What begins as small, almost invisible habits turns into mastery. What feels effortless to him is unimaginable to others, because systems remove friction, and without friction, progress becomes inevitable. That's why his silence isn't passive. It's preparation. It's protection. It's power. A Sigma male doesn't chase excellence. He engineers it, quietly, one system at a time. He avoids validation traps, staying focused on mastery instead of recognition. A Sigma male learns early that chasing validation is a silent prison. The moment a man starts performing for approval, he loses control of his direction. That's why the Sigma removes himself entirely from that cycle. He refuses to let applause define his ambition or criticism redirect his path. While others shape their choices around being seen, liked, praised, or rewarded, he shapes his choices around one thing only: mastery. He knows recognition is unpredictable, fragile, and often shallow, but mastery is permanent. So he builds in silence, improves without witnesses, and sharpens his skills with a kind of monk-like discipline that doesn't need an audience. To him, external validation isn't progress, it's noise. And noise is the enemy of precision. This shift in mindset gives him an advantage that most people never acquire. When you remove the need to impress, you remove the fear of failing, and that's where real growth happens. He can experiment without judgment, refine without pressure, evolve without interruption. His progress becomes self-contained, self-fueled, and self-directed. No algorithm controls his effort. No applause controls his pace. No opinion controls his identity. In a world obsessed with showing results, he is obsessed with becoming the kind of man who doesn't need to show anything. While others exhaust themselves trying to look successful, he quietly becomes successful, one deliberate improvement at a time. And because he never chases recognition, recognition eventually chases him. Mastery has a gravitational pull. People feel it even before they understand it. They notice the depth in his work, the precision in his decisions, the confidence in his silence. They can't explain it, but they sense the difference. He doesn't act to be admired. He acts because he has standards. True influence comes from substance, not performance, and he embodies this truth so completely that it makes him unforgettable. That is why he cannot be replaced, imitated, or outpaced. When a man stops playing for the crowd, he becomes dangerous. And when he commits to mastery over validation, he becomes unstoppable. He lets results reveal his ambition instead of talking about it. A Sigma male understands a truth most people never learn. The moment you talk too much about your plans, you start borrowing pride from a future you haven't earned yet. That's why he stays quiet. Not out of secrecy, but out of discipline. He knows every word spent describing a dream is energy stolen from the work required to build it. So he keeps his ambition buried beneath silence, letting curiosity surround him instead of expectations. People may underestimate him because they see no announcements, no boasting, no grand declarations. But that is exactly his strategy. While others seek recognition before results, he builds results that make recognition unavoidable. And when those results finally appear, they hit harder precisely because no one saw them coming. His achievements don't arrive with noise, they arrive with gravity. Suddenly, the people who doubted him realize he wasn't idle, he was deliberate. The people who thought he lacked direction realize he was sharpening it. The people who assumed he had no goals realize he was operating on a level they never imagined. His silence turns every accomplishment into a plot twist, not a prediction. And plot twists leave impact. This approach frees him from external pressure entirely. Without an audience waiting for progress updates, he moves at his own pace, faster when clarity strikes, slower when strategy requires patience. He experiments without fear of embarrassment. He changes direction without the burden of explaining why. He evolves privately, mastering the very skill that separates exceptional men from ordinary ones, the ability to work without applause. For him, the journey is personal, the discipline is internal, and the reward is transformation, not attention. And when the time comes, he lets the work speak for him. not with bragging or ego, but with undeniable proof. People don't respect him because he talked about what he would do, they respect him because he did it. In a world obsessed with announcing ambition, the Sigma male becomes unforgettable by revealing it only through achievement. He adapts faster because no one is watching to judge his changes. A Sigma male moves through life without the weight of spectators, and that gives him an advantage most people never experience. When no one is monitoring his choices, critiquing his direction, or waiting for him to prove something, he becomes free to evolve at a speed that looks impossible from the outside. He isn't afraid to adjust his strategy, shift his priorities, or abandon a failing path because there is no audience questioning his every step. Silence gives him fluidity. Privacy gives him speed. While others stay committed to outdated plans just to avoid embarrassment, he changes course the moment reality demands it. This makes him incredibly difficult to predict. One month, he is deeply invested in a project. The next, he's moved to a new angle because he spotted a better opportunity. Outsiders think he is mysterious or inconsistent, but in truth, he is simply efficient. He doesn't need permission to evolve. He doesn't need to justify transitions. The absence of social judgment removes the friction that slows most people down. His life becomes a series of rapid upgrades, quiet, intentional, and invisible until the results surface. And this adaptability becomes a form of power. While others cling to fixed identities, he updates his internal operating system without hesitation. He reads new patterns quickly. He discards what no longer fits. He becomes sharper, faster, more informed, not because he is trying to impress anyone, but because the lack of external pressure allows him to follow truth instead of expectation. His evolution stays private, but its effects become undeniable. People often wonder how he seems to leap ahead without warning. The answer is simple. He changed long before they noticed. He improved long before they paid attention. He evolved quietly, without applause or commentary, and by the time the world finally looks in his direction, he is already a different man, stronger, wiser, and 10 steps ahead. He becomes unstoppable because his growth cannot be predicted, tracked, or interfered with. A Sigma male becomes truly dangerous the moment his evolution slips out of everyone's line of sight. When no one can anticipate his next move, influence his decisions, or slow down his momentum, he turns into a force that grows in silence and strikes with precision. Most people broadcast their progress, announce their goals, and reveal their strategies, making themselves easy to read, easy to judge, and easy to undermine. But he does the opposite. His development happens underground, like a root system expanding where no one is looking. By the time the world becomes aware of his growth, it's already too late to shape it, stop it, or interrupt it. This unpredictability is not accidental, it's engineered. He keeps his insights to himself, shifts direction without notice, and develops skills quietly until they sharpen into advantages. There are no patterns to track, no habits to decode, no public milestones to interpret. His silence becomes a protective shield around his evolution. No expectations, no pressure, no distractions. And without interference, his learning curve becomes steep, uninterrupted, and relentless. People often underestimate him because they cannot see the work happening behind the scenes. That's the point. They think he is stagnant when he is actually upgrading. They assume he is drifting when he is redirecting. They believe he is passive when he is refining. And while they waste energy trying to decode a version of him that no longer exists, he continues moving forward, untouched by their projections. He becomes unstoppable because no one can prepare for a man who doesn't reveal where he's headed. No one can block a strategy they cannot see. No one can compete with someone whose growth operates outside the normal timelines and social pressures. His trajectory becomes invisible but powerful, a straight line toward mastery that cannot be mapped, measured, or manipulated. And when he finally steps into the open, the world realizes the truth. He didn't just grow quietly. He outgrew everything that once tried to contain him. In the end, the power of the Sigma male isn't loud, dramatic, or easily understood. It's the quiet, disciplined evolution happening beneath the surface. While others race for recognition, he builds foundations. While they seek applause, he seeks mastery. And when the moment comes to reveal what he's become, he doesn't need permission, validation, or support. His results speak louder than any announcement ever could. If this breakdown made you rethink how silent ambition works, tell me in the comments which part of this resonates the most with you, and use one keyword to describe your own journey: becoming, shifting, awakening, or breaking out. Your voice matters more than you think. Let's see who's really building in silence.